Good morning everybody. In today's video, we are going to discuss on the methods for handling the deadlock. The first method is we can use a protocol to prevent or avoid deadlock, ensuring that system will never enter the deadlock state. So we can use either deadlock prevention technique or deadlock avoidance technique to prevent the deadlock. That is the first method. The second method is that we can allow the system to enter into the deadlock and then recover from it. That is the second way of handling the deadlock. And third is ignore the problem altogether and pretend that this deadlock never occur in the system. So this third solution is the one which is used in many operating systems like Windows and Unix. So it is up to the application programmer to write programs to handle the deadlock. So coming to the first solution, deadlock prevention and deadlock avoidance. So here, deadlock prevention, it is a set of methods for ensuring that at least one of the necessary condition cannot hold. So as we have discussed in the previous video, there are 4 conditions like mutual exclusion, hold and wait, no preemption, and circular wait. If any one of the condition doesn't hold, then we can say deadlock will never occur. So by using that technique, we can prevent the deadlock. Next is deadlock avoidance. Coming to the deadlock avoidance, so here operating system is given advanced information regarding all the resources. That is like when the resources will be available. So all these additional information is given to the process. So we can also, by using these techniques, we can also avoid deadlock. So this is one solution. So we can prevent or avoid deadlock by using these 2 techniques. Second is that if the deadlock occur, then we will use some algorithm to recover from it. That is the second way. And third way is that we will ignore this problem altogether and we think that deadlock will never occur in the system. But this is not like this. But if deadlock occur, then the system will deteriorate and the functioning also will go slowly. So this is what happens in case of the third solution. Okay, so we will see one by one now. Next, coming to deadlock prevention method. So as I have told you, deadlock prevention, you can prevent deadlock by ensuring that if any one of the necessary condition cannot hold in the system. If any of the 4 condition cannot hold, then we can say that we can prevent the occurrence of a deadlock. So first we will see the first method, that is mutual exclusion. So what is mutual exclusion? A process can use only one resource at a time. So a process can use only one resource at a time is called a mutual exclusion. That means all the resources are non-shareable. By default, all the resources are non-shareable. So suppose if you try to share that resource with other process, then you will get wrong result. I'll tell you with an example like a printer. In case of a printer, only one process can use that printer at a time. If 2 processes are using the printer at the same time, then you will get wrong result. So by default in all the system, all the resources are non-shareable. So we cannot eliminate mutual exclusion. So we should consider all the 4 conditions and we should check whether any one of the condition we can eliminate or not. So but by default we cannot eliminate mutual exclusion in the system. Coming to hold and wait. In hold and wait method, a process is holding one resource and waiting for other resource is called hold and wait. So we'll take the same example. So here the process P1, it is holding the resource R1 and it is waiting for some other resource called R2. Likewise, process P2, it is holding the resource R2 and it is waiting for R1. So this is hold and wait. So we can avoid hold and wait by 2 ways. The first method is that a process can request for resources only when it is not holding any resource. So if a process P1, it can request other resource only when it is not holding R1. So it can request, a process can request the resource only when it is not holding any resource. This is the first way of avoiding your deadlock. Okay, hold and wait. There are two ways. The first way is this one. And what is the second way? In case of a second way, process has to put forth the request for all the resources which it needs. Once it acquired all the resources, then only it can start executing. So what is the second way? So the second way is that, so first initially the process has to request all the resources it requires. So for example, it requires 5 resources like DVD, printer, scanner, everything it has to request first. So once it acquires all the resources, then only it can start executing. So request all the resources. And once it acquires, once it gets, it can start executing. Okay. So if you do by this way, there are two disadvantages occurs. The first disadvantage is low utilization of resources. Since, for example, you are getting all the resources, you are getting DVD or you are getting scanner, you are getting all your cache memory, and then you are getting printer. But usually when you are doing your program, you will use the printer only at the last. So some of the resources are not utilized. So it is the first disadvantage of this method is low utilization of resources. The second disadvantage is starvation. So what do you mean by starvation? If a process waits for a resource for a longer time, then it is called starvation. So since you are holding the resources for a long time, some other resource which it requires that resource, some other process which it requires that resource has to wait longer time to get that resource. So it will be in a starvation stage. So there are two ways. So to avoid hold and wait, you can use either by two ways. So you can easily eliminate hold and wait if you follow these two ways. First method is that if you are not holding any resource, then you can request the resource. The second method is that you can request all the resource initially at one time, then you can start executing. Okay, these are the two ways to eliminate hold and wait. Third condition is no preemption. What is no preemption? A process cannot release its resource until it finishes its execution. During the execution of the system, the operating system cannot release any of the resource. Okay, that is no preemption. So we will take example over here. We try to eliminate this no preemption. If we try to eliminate this no preemption, then we can also prevent deadlock. So we will see what are the ways to eliminate this no preemption. The first method is a process P1 is requesting for the resource R1, but resource R1 is allocated to P2. Okay, that means R1 is already allocated to P2, but P1 is requesting for the resource R1. So in this case, what operating system will do is, this operating system will implicitly releases all the resources that process 1 is holding. Suppose process 1 is holding some other resource, so the operating system will implicitly releases or preempt all the resources that currently this process 1 is holding. So all this released resources, it will be kept into the queue. And once it again, after some time, it again requests for the resource R1. If this R1 is there, then it can use the old resources and the new one, then it can start execution. So this is the first way. So the first method is that if process 1 is waiting for R1, it will not be given immediately. So now the process 1 has to release all the resources it is holding. So all the currently hold resources, it will be put inside the queue. And after some time, again the process 1 will request R1. If the R1 is available, then it will get the old one and the new one, it can start execution. So this is the first way of preventing no preemption. The second way is, consider one more example where process P1 is requesting for the resource R1, but this R1 is currently allocated to the process P2, but and also P2 is waiting for some other resource called R2. So in this case, what happens is, so here P2 is currently holding R1 and it is also waiting for the resource R2. In this case, operating system knows the condition. It will forcibly release this R1 from P2. Okay, then it will allocate this R1 to P1. So P1 will start executing and it will finish all its work. After some time, it will release this R1 and this R1 is given to P2 once if it gets R2. So this is the second way of avoiding no preemption. So I'll repeat. So consider a situation where process 1 is requesting for the resource R1, but this resource 1 is allocated to P2, but this process P2 is waiting state where it is waiting for the resource R2. In this case, operating system will forcibly release this R1 from P2. Okay, that means it will preempt this resource 1 and it will give this resource 1 to the process P1. Now P1 can start executing, it finish its work, it will give this resource 1 back to our P2. When that time R2 will also be available, so we can avoid no preemption. So this no preemption in all the three conditions, mutual exclusion cannot be avoided, hold and wait can be avoided, and no preemption can be avoided. Fourth condition is circular wait. So if we eliminate circular wait in the system, then we can also prevent deadlock. So we will see what is circular wait. Consider this as a situation where process P1 is requesting for resource R2, but it holds R1 in hand. Likewise, process P2, it is holding this R2 in hand, but it is requesting for R1. So this condition executes in circular manner, so we can say it is called circular wait condition. If we try to avoid this type of conditions, the circular wait condition in the system, then we can also prevent deadlock. So for this, we are going to assign a protocol. So in this, all the resources, it is considered as a set of resources R1, R2, etc. up to Rm, and we call all these resources as R. So in this, we are going to form one mapping function. So what is this mapping function says is, mapping function will be resources R tends to N, where R represent your resource type and N is an integer. So we are going to assign one integer for every resource type. For example, if it is function of printer, we are going to assign a value that will be equal to some value. Suppose f of tape drive. So this is one resource. So for this, we are going to assign some value. F of scanner, you are going to assign a value. Like this, we are going to assign some value for all the resource types. So if a process, see for example, if process P1, it requires 3 resource type. For example, it requires the resource R3, then R5 and R7. So process P1 requires 3 resources, R3, R7 and R5. So first, what this process 1 has to do is that first it has to request the resource f of R3. Okay, so if it can, this process 1 can request another resource whose this value should be greater than f of R5. It will be in the increasing order. So the function, the integer value of R3, if this is greater than integer value of R5, then it can request the resource, or otherwise it cannot request the resource. This ordering is called as, this will be going in the increasing order. So this, when you go this type of fashion, then we can say that we can also avoid circular wait. Okay, so let me repeat. So here a function, the process P1, it can request R3, then it will request R5 and then it will request R7. So R3 is having an integer value 3 and R5 is having an integer value 5 and R7 is having an integer value 7. Let me assume like this. So first, if it has requested R3, then it can request the next increasing order. So R5. Then it can request the next increasing order R7. So if you go in this increasing order of enumeration, then we can say that we can also avoid circular wait. So by this way we can also avoid circular weight, and we can also prevent the deadlock. So in this video we have seen what are the methods for handling the deadlock. There are three ways. They are given three solution for this. One is deadlock prevention, avoidance. Next method is you can make the deadlock to occur, and then you can use some algorithm to recover it. And third is ignore the problem. So in this video we have discussed only deadlock prevention. So we try to eliminate any one of the condition. If we eliminate any one of the condition, there is a chance of eliminating the deadlock. So for this we have seen all the conditions. So in this case, the three methods can be eliminated, but this mutual exclusion cannot be eliminated. Okay, thank you all for the watching.